now. It's loading. And we are live. All right. Got it. Ladies, you ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another session of the Double Cloud Podcast. You guys already know who I am. My name is Will. I am the host of this show. If you're tuning in for the very first time, thank you so much for tuning in live tonight. We got a great topic for you guys. You guys already know we're talking about modern day dating sexual relationships 2021. And as you guys can see, we have a full panel of guests, and we got some beautiful ladies joining us tonight. All right, so we got some beautiful ladies. I just want to say to the ladies real quick, thank you so much for jumping on. I'm excited for you guys to taking the time. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity to have you on my platform. So thank you so much. I'm excited for you guys and the conversation we're gonna have tonight. To all my subscribers out there, to all my supporters out there that always subscribe and support my channel, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for all the support you show me. Much love to you guys. I always love you guys, always jumping on, giving me so much positive feedback. And of course, don't forget, I want to say a quick disclaimer real quick. I know sometimes people jump on, they may be under the age of 18. I just want to put a disclaimer out there real quick.
This content is not suitable for the children under the age of 18 without adult supervision. Please be
advised.
Please
be advised. This is after dark session. We're going to be talking about modern day dating, sexual relationships, type of topics that you often do at night. So if you're under the age of 18, I highly recommend you go to sleep. All right. But nevertheless, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget that we do have the live chat. So this is a live show. So I always encourage you guys to participate. So if you're watching this right now, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your opinions are based on the topics and the discussions we have and the things that we're going to share tonight. So I always appreciate you guys always jumping on every single night and sharing the thoughts. I always appreciate the live chat. So let's get the live chat going. Let me know what your thoughts are. Don't forget, we do have the super chat donations. A lot of you guys always support my channel and support through a super chat financial donation. So if you guys want to support me fully, you can support it with your pockets and drop a super chat donation. So don't forget, if you do want to drop a super chat donation, ask it through a question, ask it through a topic, and I'll be able to read it live during the show, and I'll be able to reciprocate it and answer your questions. So if you have a question for me, you have a question for the beautiful guests and the ladies, ask it through a super chat donation, and I'll be able to respond live to you on the show to reciprocate for thanking you for dropping that super chat donation to support my show. Don't forget, this is a public show. So if you guys want to be part of the conversation, I always invite people to come on. So I know there's a lot of women out there that may be triggered or upset a lot of things I say, but like I said, and men as well. But like I said, I'm always open for dialogue. So I'll have an opportunity to listen to what you have to say, as long as we can have a respectable and open conversation. Or if you watch the ladies tonight and you want to have a conversation or with them as well, you guys can jump on. My only rules are just be respectable, respect me, respect the ladies, and respect the platform, and you'll be able to jump on. Don't forget, there'll be intervals throughout the show where I allow you to come on, so just keep watching, and there will be times I'll allow the ladies on the panel first to express their thoughts and opinions, but there will be times throughout the show I'll be able to allow you guys to come on. I have the waiting list. I can see people jumping on right now. I'll call your name out, and I'll click on your name, invite you on. Just make sure your camera's ready, and your audio and your visual and your camera's ready. When you do jump on, if it's not working, then I'll just kick you out and move on to the next person. Besides that, that's pretty much it. I'm excited. I'm ready to start this show, ladies. We got some great questions. I'm interested to hear what you guys are gonna bring up tonight. And but real quick, for everybody that's watching this for the very first time, they want to know who you guys are. So ladies, can you go ahead, introduce yourselves real quick? What's your name, your possible age, what do you do, and what is your relationship status? Because there's a lot of men on my channel, so they want to know. They want to know. All right, so I'll start with you, Gentry. Go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
Okay, so my name is Gentry, and I am 33 years old. I have a CPA license, so I work part-time as a accountant, and then I also do social media influencing, and I do like a sober single mom page. And my relationship status is single. Single.
All right, single. All right, nice. All right, thank you so much, Gentry, for jumping on tonight. All the way from Washington. Oh, you guys already know I'm from the Bay Area. I'm a big San Francisco fan, but you're from Washington and you're part of the podcast, so we're good. All right, so yeah, I will pass it to Madiha. Go ahead, Madiha, and introduce yourself real quick.
Hi, everyone. My name is Madiha. I'm 27 years old. I'm an LPC associate, so I'm a licensed therapist. I have a private practice here in Dallas, and I also work at a college where I do academic and career counseling. And I'm also a PhD student. I'm working on my PhD. I'm 2 years in. Hopefully, I have 2 more years to go in counselor education, and I specialize in marriage and family counseling.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right. And your relationship status, Madiha?
Oh, sorry, single.
She's a single, fellas. All right. Thank you so much, Madiha. And yeah, thank you for jumping on tonight. I'm excited to have you all the way from Dallas, Texas. And last but not least, our international guest, all the way half across the world. Go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Nia, and I am 26 young. I work, and I'm also a stay-at-home mom. What else is there? And yeah, I'm single and I'm happy. That's about it.
All right, no worries. All right, no worries, Nia. Thank you for jumping on all the way from New Zealand. And but of course, let's get right on to it. So yeah, don't forget. If you love the content, I'm definitely gonna drop all their social media panels as well. A lot of these ladies are on social media making great content. So if you support me and you support them, definitely support their channel as well. So I'll drop their links on the description on the bottom of the video after we're done with the podcast. And if you guys want to follow them, or as you guys heard, they're all single. So if you want to shoot your okay. All right. So let's get right into it, ladies. We got the first question in hand. So my first question was actually a question that one of my follower subscribers wanted me to bring up. So it's actually a great question. So ladies, my question is, what I want to ask you guys is, what do you bring to the table? So you're all single, as you guys all mentioned. You guys are all single. Let me know if you guys are looking for a committed long-term relationship. But if you are looking for a committed long-term relationship in the future, what are you going to bring to that table for that lucky man? If you do find that lucky man and that's willing to be in a long-term commitment with you. So that was the question. One of the subscribers that follow me asked me, what do women bring to the table? So I'm going to ask you guys tonight. So if you happen to find that man of your dreams and the man that you want a long-term commitment with, what do you bring to the table to be able to attract and keep him? So that's my question. And I'm gonna start with you, Gentry. What is your question? What is your response to that question?
I feel like this is gonna be like an interview, like like I bring like let me list all the things I'm great at. I can't cook, so let's take that off. No, so I bring I think women with kids in general, they have this different strength when they're going into dating again. Like they are resilient, and it's like they have this baggage in a way. I mean, like we all have baggage, but to have like these kids, and if a woman that's like a good, strong mom and independent in her own like right, like I don't need a man. I'm independent and can take care of myself. Then it's not like I get into a relationship and I dump all that on them. Like I get into a relationship and it's just like, I'm freaking strong. Okay. Like I can carry all this shit and you're going to be my partner in this. So I think something I bring is just that partnership. It's not like I need you. It's, I want us to build together. I want us to have synergy together. And, I mean, I have my quirky personality and my things that I find funny and all that stuff. And that's all great when you're trying to like find that, narrow it down to that right person. But I think like coming into a relationship, I just bring like my independence and yeah.
Okay. All right. No worries. All right. So, so your independence. Anything else you want to add on to that?
I'm funny.
Funny. Okay. All right. Funny and independence. All right. All right. All right. Okay. We'll move it along. We'll move it along, fellas. If you're watching this right now, let me know what your thoughts about funny independent women. All right. So, Madiha, what's your? I want to ask you. You happen to meet the man of your dreams. You want to be in a long-term commitment with him. What do you bring to the table for him to attract and keep him?
So I think that's like similar to what Gentry said. I think that, even for me, like I've never been married or have kids or anything like that. But, one thing that I do have is my career and my education. So, I think I know that I'm independent and I'm fully capable of taking care of myself. And at the same time, I'm also very self-aware of who I am and, what qualities I have. So, when we're looking for a partner, I always say I'm not looking for somebody to complete me, right? I am a whole person, and I would hope that my partner would be a whole person, and together we would come together and create something more beautiful. Working in the profession that I do, a big part of my job is being a marriage counselor, being a therapist. I do a lot of premarital counseling, and I especially work with a lot of domestic violence. Like that's my niche. And one thing that I see a lot is, when men and women are looking for somebody to complete them, like I feel like there's a void in me and I need you to fill that void. And I always remind people that, at the end of the day, you are a whole person. And if you're looking for another person to complete that, then that's not okay. People are unstable. People are not reliable. They're not, one day they're here, one day they're not. So the only person that you can really depend on and rely on is yourself. So before you tie yourself to another person, you need to make sure that you are a whole person. So
All right.
that's something that I look for.
All right, no worries. I love what you shared about, that's something I have seen in the world where people say, whenever I hear the word, somebody says, I need somebody to complete me. The first thing that registers in my mind is like that person is hasn't gone through the healing. They've went through a bad experience. And the thing is for me is I always tell people like your happiness is your sole responsibility. And if you expect somebody to make you happy, all your happiness is dependent on somebody else, then you're susceptible for getting, used or manipulated by people. So that's why you should be happy with yourself, content with yourself, and then you attract somebody that's already complete, and you're already complete as well, and you be able to find happiness with each other.
And I agree. I agree. I think it's a big part of that, and also managing your expectations. Like, we don't live in some Disney movie, right? It's not like happily ever after. Relationships take work, and people take work. So, it's often like, oh, I love him. Well, he had all of these qualities before. Like, he didn't magically change after, but you have these unrealistic expectations, and learning to manage those. It's very important.
Okay, no worries. Thank you for sharing. All right, so career, education, and you're not looking for somebody to complete you. You want a whole man. You want a whole man, not half a man, not 3/4 of a man. You want a whole man, fellas, a whole man. All right. So, and anything else you want to add on to that? Anything else?
No.
All right. Cool. All right. So all the full complete men out there, you know what to do. All right. All right. So and then last but not least, I'm gonna ask Nia, all the way from New Zealand. Let me, what's your response to that question? If you finally find a man, you want to go into long-term commitment. Oh, if you're looking for him, what do you bring to the table?
I think a home. I bring a home to our table. I could be anywhere and I could turn anything into a home. So if I was to bring something to a table, it'd be a home. And I think love and effort. I put effort in everything that I love to do and people that I love. So I think that's it. And I'm highly fertile. So that's the cherry on
You just say highly fertile?
Yeah.
Oh no. All right. All right. So we bring a home, You bring her home, sure, to that man. He's highly fertile, and yeah, you're ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't need people to tell me what to do, so I'm pretty like onto it. Like I don't wait for, like, for example, like, you know, some women they wait on their partner to get stuff done, or they wait on, you know, they need like a yes from someone in order to move forward. But see, with me, I know what I want and I know what needs to be done, and you know, I'm a go getter.
Okay, yeah, go get her. All right, for sure. I want to ask you. So you said you don't need somebody to tell me what to do. Do you like a man that doesn't tell you what to do, or do you like a man that like is confident enough to be able to like be a leader and kind of lead you, but and be
Yeah,
able to like, you know, tell him,
yeah,
hey, this is what I want, and this is what I want from you.
yeah.
Is it?
There's a difference between, you know, if my partner was to lead and then my partner was to tell me what to do. This is like, for me, these are different.
Yeah.
If he lead, that is totally fine to me. I love that and I find that attractive. If he was to tell me what to do, that's a red flag and that's a no.
Okay. Yeah. So you can't just tell you what to do, but you have to be able to lead by example in order for him to do that. Right. All right. Okay. All right. So yeah, that was my answer, ladies. That was my question, ladies. I do want to respond to a couple of you guys of things that you just said, just for open conversation. But I want to give you guys anything you guys want to respond to each other based on what you guys said, or anything you want to add on to it. Well, what somebody else said about the answer, their response to the question, to the topic.
I love what Nia said about wanting somebody to still be the leader, or like lead you, because I think sometimes like strong, independent women, we take over this like masculine role so much. Like I feel like I get stuck in it because I have to be, like, as a single mom, I have to be very masculine to like manage the whole household. So I do want somebody that can come in that I can trust to be in that role, and I can be like slip back into that more feminine role. But that takes a lot of trust, and like that they'll do it, and that they'll be a leader, and that they'll take that role. But I like that. I really like that you said that.
Okay, no worries. Yeah. All right. So yeah, ladies, I was just writing down a lot of the things you guys said, and I just have some thoughts I just want to share with you guys. I'm just interested to hear what your thoughts about the things I want to ask. Because we are talking about modern dating, right? Modern dating, sexual relationships, what's going on in the modern day world. One of the reasons why I started this podcast was to have open discussion to figure out, as you guys know, if you look at the numbers statistically in America, marriage sucks. So long-term relationships, marriage is statistically failing in America. So that's one of the reasons why we have this open podcast. Like we just have conversation between men and women and figure out why is it that way. So I listened to a lot of things you guys said and what you guys brought to the table, and I've done this podcast for a very long time, and one thing I have noticed, because I've asked women multiple times, like, what do they bring to the table? And one thing I've noticed, also observed in the dating culture in America, especially with women, modern women living in America, is a lot of times their attributes or traits they advertise to be able to attract men are not the things that necessarily men are looking for and attracted to. And one of the biggest ones I have noticed, I think Gentry brought it up, is the strong, independent women, right? So, and this is something, because I'm a big believer in masculinity and femininity, right? That derives from our biology, and I do believe that, that type of men that most women want, which is strong, confident, independent, leader, right? Ambitious, right? Has his life together. He's complete, like Madiha said, complete, not half a man, not quarter. He's a complete man. Because of our biology and the intersexual dynamic between men and women, masculine men look for a certain type of traits in a woman. And one thing as a masculine man is like we're not looking for a strong, independent woman, because if you're a strong masculine man, you're like, that's what you bring to the table. So if I'm a strong ambitious, independent man, that's what, if I'm bringing that to the table, I'm not necessarily going to look that from my partner. And that's one of the things I always say is men who are very strong, independent, ambitious, they're looking for feminine women, submissive women, and women who are more nurturing and caring. And a lot of times I see in today's dating culture is, that's the movement, right? Strong, independent women. And a lot of these women struggle to attract good quality men. And then because I always tell women is, a man that our love language is provide and protect. As a man, I have this need within me, this eternal intrinsic need that I want to protect. If I really love you, I want to provide and protect you. So I want to take over that role, right? I don't need you to be the provider, protector, the strong woman. I'm going to be that for you, because that's how men show their love and commitment. So a lot of times when women say, I'm strong, independent, I don't need a man, it doesn't make you sexually attractive to men. And because that's not what we're looking for you to bring to the table, for us to even come to the table. What are your thoughts about that? Because that's something I see in America, I do see in the dating culture today. And like I said, there's nothing wrong being strong, independent ladies. Like, it's something, like I said, I respect strong, independent women. What I'm saying is, it doesn't make you sexually attractive, because that's what dating is. We attracted by the things that make you sexually attracted to a man or a woman, and that's what brings them to come to you, right?
I'd like to show you my DMs, maybe.
Or yeah. So
because I would disagree.
So my response to that, Gentry, is because women will say that, look at my DMs, but I think you're confusing sexual attraction, like, sex attention, from long-term attention. Yeah. So you have a lot of men in your DMs that want to have sex with you, but how many are willing to take the responsibility to wife you up and take over and be committed to you long-term and marry you?
I have lots of marriage proposals.
Okay. You ever
take them up on it? No.
Take them off? Okay. All right.
I would have to disagree with you as well. I think that men think they want, and I'm going to use the broad terms here, weak, submissive women, until they have a weak, submissive woman who ends up being too high maintenance for them. And then they don't end up wanting them. Why can't she do this on her own? Why do I have to do everything? Why do I have to do that? So I think that men think that they want something until they end up making those long-term commitments. And then those same reasons why they were attracted to that person often become their downfall. From what I've seen again, and like I said, every lock has a different key. And, you're right. Maybe somebody isn't attracted to a strong, independent woman, but then that's how I know that that's not the man for me. And for me, I believe that if he is a true man, and if he is a provider and, a caretaker, then he will be willing to handle me for who I am. It's not me being strong and independent. I can be submissive when I need to be. But unfortunately, the way society is, the way, women are treated in this world, I have to stand up for myself. I have to be the one that stands up for myself to provide, because I've been taught that I can't trust a man. I've been taught that I can't trust a man to provide for me, because one day he could leave me. One day something could happen. He could find someone younger, prettier, smarter, and decide I don't want this anymore and leave. I've learned that, when men find women to be too strong and independent, that's often speaking to their insecurities as a man. Mm-hmm. You think that because I am educated, because I can earn my own money, that I don't have a need for you. Therefore, it kind of affects you and your mentality as to being a man and your ego. And that's fine. You can keep your ego in check there. But if I'm looking for a person, then I'm looking for a companion. I'm not looking for a provider. I'm not looking for a nurturer. I'm not looking for somebody to take care of me, which would be nice, but that's not my main priority. What I am looking for is somebody who will be a companion, someone who will be a friend, someone who will be my ride or die. If I need a provider, I can provide for myself. If I need a caretaker, I am taking care of myself, right? What I want is a companion, a partner. And that's where I feel that when men say, I don't want a strong, independent woman because she is too open, or she has too many opinions, and that speaks to me a lot more about their insecurities and their ego.
Okay, so I do again. Thank you for sharing that, by the way, because I think it's a great discussion. I do want to ask you. So you said that if men who don't want strong, independent women, they say that that's not part of insecurity. Okay, all right,
So
all right. You don't believe that men and women just have different things what we look for when it comes to relationships sexually.
Yeah,
repeat that.
but I think that you're gonna find the same way I'm attracted to a different type of man. Like there's certain guys that I look at and I'm like, ew, no, like the way that they present themselves, I would never want to be in a relationship with them. And there's guys that I look at and I think differently. And I think everyone's gonna see that differently. So I don't think you can generalize that all guys are overwhelmed by or that they're annoyed by the independent woman. I think history, you know what I mean?
I'm not saying all. I'm just saying majority. I'm just generalizing, right? General. Right?
But even
you
generalizing, when you look at dating trends in this modern era, there's this idea of man provide and be, the classic alpha male and, woman being the submissive beta female. I don't think that applies to current trends. I don't think that applies to the way the dating era and dating is changing, y'all. Like it's not the same that it was. We have these hookup apps, we have Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, we have all of these types of apps. And then, people are no longer meeting each other at bars or, stuff like that. The dating scene itself has completely changed. And I think, when we look at, LGBTQ and sexuality and how people are more open about their sexuality and, and when you look at anything when it comes to these types of things, I don't think we can put this broad stroke of saying, men don't like independent women or are threatened by independent women. I think it really just depends on person to person on what their type is, what they're looking for, and age. Where are you in your life? Gentry over here and Nia as, single mothers might be looking for something different than me as a childless person is looking for. Your priorities, where you are in life, your experiences, they all shape you into what you're looking for in that partner. So again, I don't think it's fair to, like Gentry's saying, is to paint this with this one broad brush stroke and say that majority of men are like this.
I do think though that women are so afraid of the getting left, the whatever, that we've kind of become a little bit closed off to being more of that submissive, being more of that feminine, being more of that or like just sticking in the masculine energy maybe a little bit too much. I know I struggle with that, like where because I don't need someone, I start to not even want them. And it's like I have to like let myself get back into that feminine thing because we've learned that we have to take care of ourselves because we have been let down. Like I
think that's the defense mechanism. Like what you're saying is a defense mechanism, right? So like you said, it's a learned trait based on what you've gone through, that I can't be feminine because someone is going to take advantage of that. Right.
All right.
So yeah.
But so I have a couple of things just to respond to a lot of things that you said. Madiha, the one when you said like most men don't want strong independent women, right? So, no, I'm sorry. You said the times are changing, right? The culture is changing in America. The times are changing in America. But this is the thing, of course, things are changing, society is changing, everything's changing in America. But the thing is, the relationships aren't working. So if we're doing things that's never done, like you said, if you're doing things outside of the normal of what you may consider traditional, right? Like our great grandparents side, and you're saying that that's the old way to do it. This is the new way. This is the new and better way to do it. Okay, but how come it's not working? Because it clearly worked in our grandparents' time, right? It worked. The relationships, they stayed together. The man and woman stayed. Now, later things have changed. But if you're saying it's better, then how come we're still failing in relationships?
I'm not saying that it's better or worse. I'm just saying that it's different. And when we look at the relationships during our grandparents' ages and the reasons why they stuck together, it was because divorce was such a taboo topic at that time. Women were not treated as human beings, but rather as property. So when you were married off and owned by that man. That's the first thing. The second thing is that often women would stay with their husbands because they weren't sent to school, they didn't have education, they didn't have means of money, so they really relied solely on that man for everything that they needed. If they were to leave that man, then they would be viewed as a lower person in society. So historically, yes, when marriages lasted longer, but the quality of that marriage, the quality of the relationship, I would argue was not the healthiest. We see that. Why? We see rise in domestic violence. We see generational trauma that's carried on from our grandparents to our parents to us, right? We see all of these issues. So yeah, you're right. We did stay married longer, but was that marriage worth being in, right? The other thing I would argue is that people these days, and I don't think it's just in dating, I think it's interacting with people on in any level, interacting people with people at work, interacting with people in grocery stores, interfamilial communication. I think we've lost the art of communicating and being able to talk to each other. And I think a big part of that is technology. When we are talking to people through these dating apps, and stuff like that, the filter is gone. Men have become way more vulgar. They will talk to you in ways that they would never talk to you or make comments into you in ways that they would never make comments to you if they were to do that in person. So I think that relationships are not succeeding because we all have this ideal of what a relationship should be, right? We have this ideal, these expectations of what my relationship should be, and we think that it's easy, but it's not. Marriage takes work. Relationships take work. Any sort of commitment takes work. And if you're not willing to do the work, then it's easy to say, hey, you know what? This person is not meeting my standards. He doesn't get me. I'm leaving. Right. But actually to sit there, try and communicate, to try to work through those problems, that's a little bit harder. It may take some time, but you might achieve it. But if we're not willing to work and say, hey, you know what, there's a next best thing out there that, people don't want to commit, then I think
Yeah.
another big issue is social media. We have these unrealistic ideals of what a relationship looks like, what an ideal woman and man should look like. Right. We were
Mhm.
joking about, what we look like right now versus our Instagram post, like filters, Photoshop, all of these things, right? They all play a role, and we have these unrealistic expectations of what a man and a woman should look like. And I think that also plays a big role, in terms of sexuality. Porn is poisoning a lot of these marriages because we expect sex to be a certain way. And, when it's not like that, when it's not reaching our expectations, it's poisoning people's sexual drive. It's poisoning people's sexual relationships. So I really do think that a lot of the relational issues that we're seeing today are due to communication and unrealistic expectations.
No, yeah, thank you for sharing that. I want to say the one thing you did mention, like all those things you mentioned about women, about the things that happened to them back in the day in the grandparents time. I'm not gonna deny that happened because relationships aren't perfect, right? This relationships is it's things we have to work on. But what I would say is, okay, that's a risk of going into a relationship with somebody. There's a risk of from the man, and also there's a risk for the woman, right? But what I'm saying is like, oh, if you look at the couples, right, that were happy, that none of those things that you just mentioned didn't happen, right? That they were happy, they loved their man, the man loved her. If you look at those successful and happy relationships, the dynamic of that relationship was always traditional. The man was a provider protector, and the woman was her natural submissive role in those relationships that did work out long term. And there was no trauma, there was no abuse, there was no eternal conflicts that we didn't see behind closed doors. That dynamic was always the same. Like you never saw those successful relationships where the man was independent and strong, and the man was submissive to her.
But there
So
was
if you so
respect. There was
what would
respect
you
in
say?
those. I said there was respect. There was respect between the partners, right? There was, and it wasn't one was submissive, one was alpha. We had our roles. I knew that my husband's role was to provide and maintain the household. My husband, or provide and, earn money or whatever, put a roof over our head. My role was to raise the children and, provide a household. But there was respect for each other's roles. There was an understanding that one is not better than the other, but rather one needs the other in order to have a successful home. That's why those marriages were successful. There was respect and an understanding.
So you see, you just said it was respect for the roles, right? So if like what I'm saying is, if men are saying, "Hey, we prefer feminine, submissive women," and you said that those work because women respected that, but then I know you mentioned that you disagreed with what I said of men wanting to be the provider protector.
Men respected the women, and the
Yeah.
women. It's because right now you see this a lot. Like when we talk about this traditional marriage that you're talking about, and I'm not
Yeah.
knocking it.
No,
It works for them to make it work, right? Obviously, there are still marriages these days where one person is a sole provider and one person is a caretaker, and they work. But why do they work? Because, one thing is that often when men are the sole providers, they feel that they can control the women because they're earning the money, right? The other thing is that they feel that the women sit at home all day and do nothing, right? So there is no respect, is what I'm trying to say. But if you
Yeah.
are able to acknowledge that it's not one role is better than the other, but rather we are doing our part to maintain the household, then there is that respect, there is that understanding, there is that saying that this is his role, this is my role, and this is how we come together. It's not domineering, submissive. It's roles.
Well,
And
yeah, but
that
that's what I'm saying is I don't think it's based on the men being provider protected means that they want to dominate or they want to control the woman. It's basic. I mean, if you're talking about roles, I think it's basic biology, right? Because as women, you guys get pregnant, so that's why men have to be biologically. That's why their role is always the provider protector. Because when you have children and you build a family, right, the woman is physically vulnerable. She physically cannot go out and work when she is in her pregnancy. The man doesn't get pregnant, so he has to provide and protect. That's why the man has to provide and protect. Because if you build a family, depending on how many kids you have, you have to raise the kids as a woman because you have kids, because you guys get pregnant, the man can't. That's why the man has to provide and protect. And that's why, like I said, it's not because we want to provide and protect, be the sole provider protector because we want to control you. It's just that's how it works when you have children, that if you're gonna be pregnant, and then you need your man to go out there and take care of and handle business.
I think
It's not,
sorry.
go ahead, Gentry, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think though with that though, you're still saying that there have to be specific roles or specific job titles for each gender, and I don't think that's quite. I don't think that's fair, because there's a lot of guys that stay home with their kids too, and they're still doing just as much important work. And like she's saying there, it's about respect, but I think that's also, it's not just respect, it's the trust that you would have to have with someone that you guys are going to do your part and your fair share of the responsibilities of the household. And however that gets broken down, I think that that's part of, maybe even part of the issue too, is that women, because we are moving into the workforce and men are having to adjust to that, it's like we don't know who should be doing what. And it's not that it's bad that we're doing that, it's just it takes a little bit more communication, a little bit more whatever, to figure out exactly what roles we're going to take in the relationship. I think too, which I don't want to be like, I'm a woman, I don't want to be like negative towards the women, but I think that women have contributed to making us look down, or having this appearance of looking down on people that stay home, because some women want to go to work and they wanted to do that. And so in their pursuit of doing that, we in a way kind of was like, well, I don't want to be that anymore. And it's like, it's okay if you want to be that. We need to stop like being like, well, I didn't want to be that because I'm not going to just sit at home and take care of this or do whatever. It's like, you need to just find your role in the partnership, not necessarily which role is the best for you. I don't know if that makes sense.
No,
or like which one gender wise that you're supposed to do.
Gentry and Medea, I want to have a question to ask you. Do you prefer your man to stay at home, or do you prefer him to go out there and be a provider protector? That's how we did Gentry.
I would want somebody to work, but then have a certain responsibilities in the household. I don't want to work all day and then also be in charge of all the laundry, all the dishes, all the cooking, all the cleaning. Like that's why we started to get pissed. Like, cause that's like bullshit. Like, why? Wait, we have to work now because you have to have a 2-income house for most people to survive. And I'm still doing all this work on top of it. And then we just get burnt out. And, so it's just making that adjustment, but that's why it's not about like gender. It's like just about, you have to figure out where you guys are going to trade off.
Okay. And the same thing, Medea, would you prefer your man to stay home, or do you prefer him to go out be a provider protector?
No, I agree with what Gentry's saying. I would want my husband to work just like I would work, and just like if I'm coming and expected to take care of the children and household chores, he has to do that as well. All
right. I will say this: there's a like you said, there are roles in a relationship, right? And as a woman, because like I said, because women decided, because you never had to understand, like in the traditional back in the day, as women, like they just wanted to, they just got married and the man was a provider protector, and then she stayed home, right? The thing is, as women today, you have that option. You have that option. You could wait for a man and go find a man that's gonna take over the responsibility for you and stay at home.
But we don't, though, and that's the thing. We don't.
I mean, but I'm saying that's an option. So like you don't.
We don't. But there might be people that do, and so I don't think that.
Like I said, we have different roles. So like it said, for you guys, it's cooking and cleaning and taking care of the household. For men, it's providing and protecting. It's like if something happens to the family, if somebody breaks into the house, if somebody threatens the security of the family, and somebody has to put his life on the line to protect the family, the men will do that. So the thing is, we've like I said,
I have got nothing.
Like
I'm protecting my house.
No, like if somebody broke into the house, right? If somebody broke into the house to rob you and to kill you guys, are you gonna do it yourself? Or are you gonna look at your man? Hey, it's time for you to step up and go handle that.
Right, we're talking about if we had a man?
Yeah, if you had a man, yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. I was in the male.
Yeah, all right, Madiha, yeah. If you're in a relationship with a man, and then somebody broke into somebody broke into your house to kill your family, are you gonna do it? Or are you gonna look at your man and expect him to do it?
I would probably have him go over there, and I would try to protect the kids.
Okay, all right, and then the same thing with you, Gentry.
Yeah. I'm not going. I don't like guns.
All right, so but that's all I'm saying is like see how you guys didn't hesitate to put the man out there to put his life on the line to protect the kid, which I'm not against. I'm all for it. That's what men should do. That's why I'm saying is like as women, that's why cooking and cleaning is part of your role as a nurturer, as a lover, as raising the children, right? It's like that's why men don't hesitate, because like this is what we bring to the table, and that's what you guys bring to the table.
Wait. Okay, so protecting is like a natural instinct. That's like you're in that fight or flight mode, or like how are we going to handle this fight or flight situation? So that's like an impulse that a man would have to probably protect in that situation. The same way that like I would have an impulse to protect my child when they fall and get hurt. Like my ex-husband doesn't know how to handle like those types of like in those emotional situations. I'm the protector when it comes to emotions. He's the protector when it comes to physical. And those are in like fight or flight, like in moments.
Yeah, I mean, your children falling down and hurting their knees is not the same as somebody.
No, I'm talking about like emotional.
Yeah.
Well, how about if you're in a car accident, right? A mother's instinct is naturally to put her arm in front of the kid to protect the child, right? What Gentry is saying is absolutely correct. The example that you've placed in front of us is if our lives were at risk and we are reacting based off of our ability to survive. We're in survival mode, right? But this is everyday life. You know, I'm not putting my life at risk if I'm cooking dinner. Now, if I'm a terrible cook and don't know how to use the stove, maybe, but I'm not putting my life at risk every day to cook dinner. The idea isn't that the man is the protector. If push came to shove and I had to risk my life for my children, I would risk my life, as would any mother.
Of course,
right?
yeah. If you're by yourself, but we're talking about relationships, right? So if you're in a relationship,
if it came to me wanting to put myself in front of my family, I would 100% sacrifice myself for my family.
And
Yeah,
that's why
But that,
if you were the only one left, I'm saying is if you had a relationship and you have a man,
even if I have a
you
relationship,
you expect the man to do it.
I would have
You,
to disagree.
I mean,
I would say,
I asked you.
but that's what I'm saying though. It's not about protecting, right? It's not about I need to put him in danger. I'm saying if he's trying to check out what's happening, then I'm also going to check on my children and make sure that they're safe. If it comes out that he's hurt, I would go and try to help him, right? It's not about do you get what I'm saying? It's about me making sure, whether it's my husband, my children, whatever it is, that it is a person that I love. And when it comes to a person that I love, I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that person is safe and taken care of. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter
oh,
what their role or relationship is.
yeah, I think, yeah. Nia, do you have something to say? You have something to add on? I see you want to say something.
Yeah, I had a lot to add on, but then
No,
the
go ahead.
conversation changing.
Go ahead, Nia. Go ahead.
I see, man, I don't know if I should start from the beginning or where we are now. Yes, I forgot, but I think that's why if we're going off of where we are, like people downplay, like, the role of a woman and a mother who does stay home. Like
Yeah.
they think, oh, if a woman goes out and work, like, we are way better. But man, the efforts and so much work it is to be a mom at home and to, look after the household, nurture your children. That job is like, I feel, and not I feel to myself and what I know, like, from my experience, is way harder than going out there and working. And a lot of women, they downplay it because social media and other people make it out like, oh, you're just a stay-home mom. You don't do that much. That's why we want to go out and work and be the strong, independent woman. But so this is just my opinion. Like, I'm fine with your guys' opinion and whatever, but what my opinion is, I feel like, a woman should be at home with their children, and a man should be out there making money. Like a man can't, like, behind a good man is like, a strong woman, and that's just my thought on it. And if you're out there being really, strong, independent, and you have your voice and blah, 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 a man cannot go and do his part if you're playing both roles. Damn, did that make sense?
No, I would add, but so the thing is, I know that strong independent women, right? Yeah. And you said that women should go out there and work, which I believe women shouldn't be able. I think somebody has to raise the kids, and I think the women should do that, and then the men should. And then I do want to put this out there, because this is the reality. The women that are out there right now, being strong, independent, living on their own, raising children on their own, and single mothers, right? And their children are statistically more likely to fail high school. They're statistically more likely to be in drug abuse. Statistically more likely to be incarcerated. So their children end up being unproductive members of society based on statistics. So when you remove the man out the household, the provider, protector from the house, and you let the woman be this strong, independent woman, and let her raise the kids on her own, their kids don't become great members of society statistically. But when you look at families together, as a man is a provider, protector, and the woman stays home, and that's why I love Nia brought that. That's why I love Nia. I love what Nia brought up. Like the role of a woman, like somebody has to raise the children, because raising kids is like, I know it's a hard job. It's a hard job to raise kids. So the women out there raising kids at home, taking their time to raise their children, to make sure that the children receive everything they need, so they can grow. Those children end up being great members of society. But when you remove the provider, protector, and let the woman raise the kids on her own, and she's a strong, independent one, those kids don't end up doing well in society statistically.
But why are those providers and protectors removed? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about why women are single these days, right? Why is it that when women are forced to raise these children single? Yes, it might be that they are in the relationship didn't work out, but that doesn't mean that just because that woman carried that child for 9 months, that child is only the woman's responsibility. Where are the fathers in this situation? Where are the fathers that are abandoning their children? Where are the fathers that now get divorced and then say, we don't want the kids, we pay our alimony check, and that's that?
Yeah.
You have to think about that. We have to argue that it takes two to bring a baby into this world, and it takes a village to raise them. So we can't just say that those children that are being raised by single parents are statistically not, I could argue that kids that don't have fathers in their lives are statistically more likely to join gangs and go into drugs and, not make it to college. But where are the fathers? Where are these strong providing men, right? If these single women, right, for example, let's say we get divorced and it's your job to pay your alimony and, child support, whatever the case may be, so that I can stay home and raise my children, right? Because now we're divorced and now you owe me alimony, you owe me child support. What about all the back child support? What about the fathers that decide now that the marriage is over, I don't want to deal with the wife or the children? So you can't you can't make these broad statements of saying that every woman who has a single child, or, statistically, this is, yes, statistically that may be true, but let's look behind the numbers. Look at the situational context as well, because I guarantee you a lot of those children that are going through the system may have mothers that have to work 3 to 4 jobs a day just to make sure that the lights are running, right? They may have situations that they are already predisposed to, right? So it's not fair for us to sit here and judge, the children that come from single mothers. I can also argue that children that are raised by single mothers are often one of the most resilient human beings that are known. Right?
Yeah, but that's not statistically doesn't. I mean, the statistics just show that's what it is, right? And I'm saying is like, look, I mean, with the women, you said that we're all the responsible and competent fathers, right? So can we add, ladies, can we all agree there's a lot of irresponsible and men are out there that are not irresponsible? Can we all agree there's a lot of men out there that's irresponsible? Do you think there's more irresponsible men or more responsible men?
More women or men?
Do you think there's more men out there that are responsible enough to take care of their children, or there's more men out there that are irresponsible?
Well, if you're talking about single households, I would say that the argument of a woman, a child coming from a single mom household is also coming from a household with no dad. So an absent dad. So are you saying it's the single mom's fault, or are you saying it's the absent dad's fault?
No. What I'm saying is, like, because Matia brought up a point. She was like, we're all the good, we're all the men that step up for the children, the responsible and the good men, right? So what I want to ask you, do you think there's more men out there that are good and responsible, or do you think there's more men out there that are irresponsible and they're not high quality? Like, what do you think is more dominant in the dating market? If you want to go date right now, what do you think is going to be more dominant in the dating market? The irresponsible men or the responsible men?
I think it's a mixture. Again, I don't think I can make a broad judgment and say that there are more irresponsible versus responsible men. I've seen both. I'm in the dating world, but I see responsible men and I see irresponsible men. Just like I see responsible women and irresponsible women.
What I'm saying is, if men were like I said, if there was more responsible men, more good men, then naturally there wouldn't be a higher rate of single motherhood. Every man would step up. So since there is a higher rate of single mom statistically, so there's a lot of men out there not stepping into their role. So, and that's the dating culture we have shifted today, is we can just have sex whenever we want. We don't have to vet men no more. If you want to go out to have sex and then you have sex with these irresponsible men, then that's the outcome. So we're all the good men out there. The reality is, for all the women, I tell women all the time, like, all the good men, there are good men out there, but there's not a lot of them. So that's why I believe that today's sexual liberation and telling women, hey, be strong, independent, and go out to have sex with anybody who you want. If that's what you want, that's fine. But the reality is, if you have sex with the wrong man, which is a choice if it's consensual, right? If the woman chooses to have sex with the man, but he turns out to be irresponsible, then that's the outcome based on the choices that they made. If you want a good man, if you want a responsible man, then you can't just go out there and have sex with men. You have to like everything in life, you have to work for those types of men and be able to live a lifestyle and attract those men.
Are good men also not having sex with irresponsible women?
A good man,
or are they just out having sex with whatever and then waiting for us to be the good one to finish their run?
Yeah, the good men that are building a life, building a legacy, they're building a focus on a career, ambitious men. They don't like you like Maria. You say you're ambitious. You work all the time. These guys don't like really. They focus on one thing. That's why there's a small percentage of those men. Like I like for me, like I'm constantly working all the time.
I think biologically women are at a disadvantage because unfortunately, if I have sex with a man, then I'm stuck with the responsibility of carrying that child for 9 months. That man can hit it and quit it and leave, right? But I have to
Yeah.
make the decision. It's my body. There's a child inside of me. If I
Yeah.
choose to have an abortion, that's my decision
Yeah.
because a man doesn't have to live with the repercussions. So I don't think that there are good men or bad men. I think all men are biologically driven to have sex with women.
Yeah, that's a
I
fact.
really do.
I'm not denying
And I
that.
think, fortunately, biologically, the women are built to carry the children. Therefore, we more often than not have to face the responsibilities because a man could easily leave and quit.
Yeah.
And that's that. But I have to. I'm with that child. That child is attached to me.
Yeah. So that's why I say if there is a higher risk for these guys not to be irresponsible, then wouldn't it be much more smarter as a woman to be more selective and don't have sex with random men and
Yeah,
just
it's
wait
great that if
and
we
take
all
time to
men
wait for find a good
in their
man?
too.
Huh?
No, it'd be great, but it'd be great for men to make smart decisions and keep it in their pants too. What you're thinking, the way you're speaking right now to me is very generalized, right? It'd be great if we didn't have world hunger. It'd be great if we had world peace, right? But why is one country fighting another country? Why is one person have food and why doesn't another person have food, right? What you're talking about are these broad general strokes, and that cannot be applied here. That cannot. In
Because
an ideal
we're
world,
talking
it'd
about
be
dating.
great if men made smarter decisions. It'd be great if women made smarter decisions. You're right. It'd be great if we could all sit down and think about who we slept with and who we didn't. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen on both sides of the spectrum. Not just with men, with women as well. But like I said, women more often than not have to deal with the consequences because biologically, men can't carry children.
Yeah. Yeah. And also you also have to add the fact with the laws, right? Not only you also you carry your children, but 90% of the time the government is going to give you all the rights and not to the men. That's just how it is. So like so so the by like so they not only you guys get it, but they also like even if the man wanted the child, and he was with a woman that was irresponsible, the system will give it to her and not the confident, not the responsible man.
And
All right.
thank God women do carry the child, because if the male carried the child, they would never have as much of strength that a woman will have, and
Yeah.
the feelings and emotions that a woman has to do look after a child. And yeah, my little input.
Okay. Yeah. And also, in other words, and then in the last thing I just want to ask you guys, I know you brought it up at the insecurities because that's a great topic because I do hear it all the time. So, Maria, do you like a masculine man or do you like a feminine man?
Masculine.
Masculine,
But
right?
that's
Gentry, yeah,
Masculine.
gentry, masculine, right? And then Nia,
Yeah, masculine.
right? So I know Maria brought it up. If men see women who are very strong, independent, that's their insecurity. But I believe, like biologically, we're attracted to different things between men and women based on our biology. So for men, we're attracted to feminine women, right? So that's why I say if you meet a man if a man says, hey, he wants a feminine woman, he doesn't mean he's insecure with the women that's strong and independent. It doesn't mean he doesn't respect them as human beings and value them as being. It just means that he doesn't. He's not. It doesn't. It just means he's not sexually attracted to them. It's
But
not
why can't a woman
insecurity.
be strong and independent but also be feminine? I don't understand why there's a distinction there. I feel that I'm a very feminine person, but I also think that I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't understand why there is a differentiation there.
Because if
Just
you want a masculine man, you have to submit to him naturally.
Wait, so how would you describe feminine?
Like you're like nurturing, loving, caring, compassionate.
I think I'm all of
being a mother.
I think I'm all of those things, but I'm also very strong. I'm very ambitious. I'm career driven. I think I'm a very nurturing person. I'm a very caring person. I'm a very loving person. Just looking at Gentry and Nia, I'm pretty sure that they are also the same way, but they are also very strong and independent women. So why is it that in order for me to be considered feminine, I exclusively have to be nurturing and warm and kind?
Well,
I could be all of those things and also be strong and independent.
yeah, there's nothing wrong being strong and independent when it comes to the career, but we're talking about the dynamic of a relationship, and you want a masculine man in that dynamic. You have to be the feminine and submissive one, because there's a lot.
I'm also very caring and loving and nurturing. I am. Even in my relationships, I am. But I'm also a independent and strong woman. Why is it that those two things have to be mutually exclusive? Why can I not be both?
Because that's what most men prefer. Because you may have both, but there's a lot of women out there that are feminine and they don't want to be strong. They don't want to go out there and be independent and be ambitious. They just want to. They're happy being a mother. They're happy having kids and staying home and supporting her man or whatever value she wants. He can ask her at to. So there's a lot of women like that, and those are the women.
Gentry and you guys both have careers. You guys both work. You are also mothers, right? Would you describe yourselves as being caring and loving and nurturing?
I didn't say that.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. I feel like I like to be in that feminine role. I like to. The reason that I will be in a masculine role a lot of times is because I am a single mom. Because I have to kind of provide for my household. I have to take the garbage out. I have to do I have to mow the lawn. I have to do those things. And so you have to be a little bit more intense, and you have to sit in that masculine role. I can't be too. I just have to sit in that masculine role a little bit more. It's not that I can't be in the feminine role. It's not that I can't. And how many women have amazing businesses based off of caring, nurturing, and loving people, like people that I can't even think of an example right now, but even me, I do coaching. I do sober coaching. I help people that are trying to get sober and they're struggling, and I help moms get their lives back and quit drinking. That is loving, that is nurturing, that is caring. Those are all qualities I have as a female that also are helping me drive a business. So I
mean, I'm a therapist. I have to be caring, loving, and nurturing. I have to be empathetic. I have to put myself in the shoes of other people and understand their perspective.
Yeah.
I can be domineering. Right. No, it's not and that's what I'm trying to say here, is that these roles, we're multifaceted. Depending on where I am, depending on who I am, you're going to see a different side of me. If I am at home with my children, you are going to see a different Madiha. If I am at home with my husband, there will be a different Madiha. If I'm out in the workforce, there's going to be a different Madiha. I am not just one role. I am a daughter. I am a therapist. I am a sister. I am a lot of things. And because I have many different hats, I am a different person. I have different qualities and different characteristics. It doesn't mean that just because I have a career and I'm educated and I'm strong and I'm independent, that I cannot be warm and nurturing and caring and submissive when I need to be, and feminine when I need to be.
But that's what I'm saying, is the thing is you're all those things, but the thing is perception is reality. Men don't see these things. So if they're in the dating market, all they see you is ambitious, career, therapist, works all the time. So like I told you guys before, men don't care about those things sexually. So they never get to see your feminine side. And because we don't get to see your feminine side because you're always career driven and working, there's other women out there that's showing their feminine side. They're showing they want to be housewives. They're showing they want to be a wife. And because that's what men are wanting, they go to those women because they never see that from you. Because like statistically, women, the biggest percentage of women who are single and unmarried are women, are high earning women and the middle upper class women. So the women that are doing really well social economically, statistically, they're not getting married. The women that men with high value, men who are doing really well in life, they marry women that don't really have a high social economic status, because those women, they don't want to go out there and build their social economic status. They don't want to be ambitious. They just want to be a wife. They want to be a mother. They just want to have children. they're willing to let the man be the provider and protector. And those are women that may get married. And the women who are doing really well and trying to be ambitious and career oriented, they're not getting no marriage attention from men statistically. So that's what I'm saying is, if you, like I said, if you, I know you have, every woman has feminine in it, but the thing is, if men don't see it, that's one of the reasons why it's gonna be hard to attract those guys, because that's what we are looking for. It's hard to come to be attracted to you when we don't see the very traits that we are as men sexually attracted to, if you only do it privately. Nia, you have something to say?
You're muted. Oh.
All right. Yeah.
Hold on, she's on mute.
Sorry, someone's ringing my phone, so I just have to keep hanging.
Okay.
Yes, Karen, sorry.
All right. No worries. But yeah, that was that was a great conversation, ladies. Thank you for joining. We're diving into that topic, and yeah, whether we agree or disagree, thank you for sharing your point of view. Thank you for sharing, and I get to share mine. And but if you're watching this, let me know your thoughts. I see there's a lot of comments on the live chat from people that's been watching this right now. I do want to start off and go and dive into your topics, ladies. And I'll start with you, Gentry. What is your topic and what is your question that you want to bring up?
Sorry, but I have to hop off.
No worries.
It's
ours.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Medea. Thank you.
All
Thank you for jumping on.
No worries. Right. Bye.
Bye.
Gentry, what's your topic and what's your question?
So my question for like men. So my question for you as a man, right, is what we're I don't know. My head's kind of spinning about that last topic there for a little bit.
Oh. If you want to continue on with that topic, we can do it.
No, we're good. I don't know. Nia, do you have a question?
I had a question, but then
What?
with the pretty much got answered during the conversation, because I
just bring it up. Bring it up.
You know, flowing back and forth, and you know, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, I think they already answered it.
What was it? What was it?
No, I wanted to ask the question about you know, what are like your guys' thoughts about like when you're dating someone or seeing someone and then you find out, you know, they watch pornography.
Porn?
Yeah, you find out like, you know, they watch porn. Are you okay with that, or are you not okay with that?
Okay. All right. That's a great question for all the porn people out there. All right. So Gentry, that's your question. If you were seeing somebody and you found out that you had a habit of watching porn, would that be, how would you feel about it?
Well, I mean, if it was ours, it'd be okay. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't love it. I kind of how Medea was saying it puts these expectations. I feel like the best intimacy is when you're connecting with someone. So to not have that connection, or to know that they're having that without like the connection, I don't know. I don't love it. I don't love it. I don't think it's healthy.
Okay. Is that something you notice a lot, Nia? There are a lot of guys that in, I guess, in your that you meet,
yes,
they're all in watch porn.
They watch it a lot and they make it out like it's so normal or it's so cool.
Well, I would say this, Daniela, I see you. I see you in the live chat. I'm about to add you on. Thank you for being so patient. So I'm about to add you on real quick. I know you want to be part of the conversation, but I would say this. You know, for men, like biologically, like we're built to like be sexually attracted to women, right? So the thing is, in the olden days, like as a man, if you wanted to be sexually active and you wanted to see sex in real time, like you had to go pursue it back in our great grandparents' time, right? Because of modern dating, right? I'm sorry, because of modern society, right? We have technology where now we have sexual access to this. So men are not incentivized no more to go and pursue a woman, because pursuing a woman, that takes a lot of effort, right? Also, that takes a lot of courage, because I don't know if you know, I don't know if you know these, but we men, we get rejected a lot. And rejection sucks. If a man really wanted to have sexual access and be able to see and be sexual active, like, men had to pursue women, and he took risk, it took courage, it took persistence, and that's what they had to do. But now, because of technology, they don't have to do that no more to get sexual access and to be able to see sex or visual images of sexuality from women. And like I said, that's why a lot of guys now, like, it's like I'm saying, it's easier. It's like the path of least resistance. It's like it's their comfort zone. So why would young boys, why would I go and ask a girl I really really like, and be vulnerable in the risk of being humiliated or being rejected or being laughed at? Then instead I got this option right here. It's in the tip of my hands, and I just click a button. I can watch all the sex I want, and I don't really have to go out there and put any effort, and it's right here. So that's just from my answer to that, Nia, is that's just the results. That's just the byproduct of the modern age of the internet. And now we can see men, we can see sex on our phone, and then because men were biologically, like, if we see the mass and titties, like, we're gonna look. Right, we're gonna look. So now they have it, but like I told you guys before, as men we mature in life, and there's some men out there eventually. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I watched porn heavily when I was younger, in my high school years, but then it just got, for me, as I grew, as I matured as a man, and I found my purpose, I found out what I love to do, it required a lot of my attention and time. My time, I don't have time anymore to, like, go for. It was easy for me to give that up, because I found something I really wanted to do and invest my time in. So it depends on, like, I think for me, my question is, Nia, if a man is doing everything he's doing to be in a relationship with you, but he has a habit of looking at porn, is that a deal breaker? Or do you mean the men out there who porn has taken over their life, and they're risking their life, their job, their career, for the sake of porn? Because I think that there's some men out there that I know men right now, they're responsible, but they may watch some porn here and there, but it's just they just grew up in this era where we see sex on our phone. What are your thoughts about that, Nia?
I think me, like, it would be a deal breaker, like,
Yeah.
depending on who he is and what he does, like, in the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I find it. I find it
But
crazy.
I really believe this. I think I think in real life, like, if you're having of course, people out there that are, really kinky and love all that shit. Hey, that's what you want to do. But I do believe that, if you're really having fun in the bedroom, and you're enjoying sex with your partner, you don't really need to go to porn. That's just, my opinion, right? If you're into that type of stuff, I know there's people out there, that's why we have the movie 50 Shades of Grey. So, but I do believe if you're having fun, if you enjoy sex,
if you're not performing properly in the bed, then they don't go and look at it.
I think for both partners, like for both men and women, if we're not getting the sexual satisfaction we want from the relationship, then they're going to be open to different outlets. So for men, porn maybe one of them. What'd you say?
Sexually satisfied or sexually connected?
Both. Either one. One of them. Both or one. Like I told you guys before, like, if I believe if you're enjoying the sex, you don't really need to go look for porn, unless that's something you're into and you like that kinky stuff.
Yeah, I think people look at porn because they like what oh man, I forgot her name, sorry, so forgetful. What the other lady was saying, they fantasize about it. Like they fantasies, like the sex could be so good with their partner, but then they're fantasizing about other stuff, just say, like, I don't know, strap-ons, or like women at once, they fantasize about that kind of thing. So that's what makes them go look at it because, yeah, I can't explain it. Just,
I feel like if that's something that's going to be a part of your life and you're in a committed relationship, it needs to be an open communication. Like, is this something we can explore together? Or I do feel like it's disrespectful to do if you're in a committed relationship, like behind their back. Like you're fantasizing about somebody else, and like I just feel like it's disrespectful. But there, like you said, there's some people that have like fetishes, really like certain things, or they might be into it together. And if it's like a partnership, like let's do this together. This is, I think, then to each their own. But yeah, I feel like it's disrespectful to do if you're not, and I feel like this, like, it's men will be men, this is what we're made to do, is a little bit caveman. Like we've evolved. You also have the ability to be like, hey, this might be like me checking out from my life and my relationship and not having to do the hard work of like working through this situation and with my partner and figuring out what we can do to have a better sex life. Instead, I'm just going to like just go to this outlet, and because I just need what I need. It's like, no, like men will be men or boys will be boys is outgrown. Like I feel like that's unfair to your sex. Like you can be better. Like,
yeah, I would say the gender respond to you like I do believe it's still part of our biology as men, but the difference between back then and now is just the men who actually did that and obtained sexual attention and attention for women is they actually worked for it, right? So they actually they pursued the women, so they had to have the courage. So they found like values and lessons like persistence, handling rejection, right? The problem with these men now is like they remove the effort part, so they don't learn how to handle rejection. They don't learn going out there and talking to women, how to communicate, how to have dialogue, right? How to pay attention to energy, pay attention to things that you would do if you actively had to go out there and pursue women in real life. And that's the problem is back then those men who were pursuing the women, like they were pursuing because they wanted it, but they didn't like spend their whole day doing it. The problem is with porn now is because it's so easily accessible, and they remove the effort and the sacrifice and the risk from putting you to go out there and pursue these women. Now it's become addictive. Now it's taken over their whole life. So that's the problem. It's still a biological thing, but because they removed the effort part and the risk, now that's why these men are so addicted now, because it's so easy. Because the reality is not easy to go out there and find a woman, talk to her, court her, take her out, have dates, get rejected. That's what men had to do. But then like it didn't take over their whole life, but it's part of their life. And now guys can just sit home and do nothing all day and still get that same sexual attention and satisfaction. And now it's become an addiction. That's the problem. We need like go
right.
ahead.
So is it addiction though, or is it talking about when you're doing it in a committed relationship? Because I think that there's two different things, right? Like if you're addicted because that's what you've gotten used to doing and whatever is one thing. And if you're not pursuing anything, the only person you're really harming is yourself and your mental state, and you're just deciding to check out instead of actually deal with your shit. But if you're in a if you're in a committed relationship, you've already done the courting, you've already done the dating, you've already got the girl. So why are you still going to that? And like, then that's when it's disrespectful. That's when you need to address this.
Yeah. So what's up, Daniela? Go ahead, Daniela.
Yeah,
what's going on, man? Thank you for jumping on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, man.
Yeah, so I think porn, in the sense of men using porn, and it's majority of men, right?
Yeah.
Funny Gendry mentioned caveman, and I've jumped on with a beard on. But so in the sense of pornography and the consumption of pornography, in my role in construction as the project manager, I try and teach young guys, usually around my age or slightly older, that you have to be aware of your biological responses to any stimuli, especially porn. So if you understand how porn can be easily associated to your dopamine level and how that can take over your life, then that become the route to addiction, right? But me as a partner, I am fully aware when I'm with my partner is that, well, I shouldn't say partner, with my wife, is that she's not always in the mood to have sex. She runs in a 28-day cycle. She's not always in the mood, whereas my libido is 24/7, right? It gets regulated on a daily basis. So in some instances, I'll be in the mood more often than she's not. And pornography can be a tool for that release. I am aware of, if I expose myself to pornography more often than I have sex with my partner, that becomes a route for unhealthy sexual tension release. But in that awareness, I can regulate my consumption of porn, and I can, go into the bathroom, masturbate without it. But that's a real life scenario in relationship with men and women, because women are regulated on a 28-day basis. They're not always in the mood. So how do these men get their release? Majority of them will go to porn. Some of them can do it without. In the sense of talking about pornography, we have to associate it with dopamine and how the brain works when we expose ourselves to these things, so that when men are in a relationship, we're not demonizing something that pushes them to utilize more than they understand why women aren't always in the mood, and how things can become a tool rather than, no, it's completely unhealthy or it's completely bad, this is completely good. There's a differentiation in there.
And that's why I mentioned Daniela, is like, when you go out to the real world to pursue women, you've learned that lesson, right? You learn to deal with real women, that sometimes women are just not in the mood, right? But because they don't go out in the real world, they never learn that lesson, right? So
and
they
you have
just
to communicate about your sexual need.
Go ahead.
I always talk about men shouldn't make their women feel guilty for not wanting to have sex, and women shouldn't make their men feel guilty for wanting sex. You establish that communication between each other. That's where you can, exist in a sexual relationship with your wife or your husband or your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. But you have to be open about that. Especially what Nia was saying, do men draw comparison and fantasy based on porn? Majority of them do. There's a category called fantasy and pornography. But the whole industry is monetizing men's basic biology.
Yeah.
So the key to that is to teach men to know how these things are correlated to their sexual need. It's all mostly biology, and if you can utilize it in a healthy way, that can become a tool for you to use. It's not always necessary for you to use, but that's where your critical thinking as a man comes into play. Not allowing yourself to dive into just hormonal responses, but to weigh out with the risk that you're taking when you actively expose yourself to these things, especially pornography.
Yeah. And also, I do want to say, is like, especially if the men are going to grow up, getting this generation, the next generation, it's going to be part of, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be part of the culture, part of normalized behavior society. Because I know kids right now, like starting in middle school, younger now, they have internet access. Like, they're watching porn at a way earlier age than I did when I started when I was in high school. So, and these are the type of conversations that we definitely gonna have more of, me and Daniela. But for all the women out there watching, like, if you see men with the watching porn, don't automatically assume, oh my God, this is a pervert, and this guy is no, like, because it's part of our culture and part of society. Like, you have to communicate with them and talk to them, like, oh, why do you do this, right? And if you're able to communicate with you guys and find out a way to make the relationship work, if that's my 2 cents away. This has become society. This has become the modern day world. This is what men do. Go ahead.
Hold on. Why did you normalize men watching porn, but you can't normalize women being strong and independent? Why can't?
Depends on your correlation of strong and independency, right?
I'm confused, because when it came to women being strong and independent, you always went back to the olden days and history and the stats of not well spoken, but of But like, when it came to men watching pornography, you made it out like, yeah, it's okay. Like, if your man watches it, you should communicate with them. But when it came to a woman being strong and independent, you're like, oh,
No, I didn't say it's okay. I said it's part of the culture of today's society.
part of, like, but how come strong and independent woman is not part of the, today's society and the modern day dating and etc.
Can I jump in on this as well?
Go ahead. I was gonna respond, but go ahead.
Yeah, it depends on your correlation between what's your perception of strong and independent, right? To me, as a mother, to be fully in her feminine role, that's being strong and independent. What I see now in modern women is the correlation between being strong and independent is career driven, having a high level of education, and it's like you said before, being a mother, and I know this because my wife is a mother of two. This downplay of motherhood, that being a mother is being weak and submissive. Being submissive doesn't equates to being weak. If you've, like Medea was saying, if my children was just to be with my wife, and someone was to threaten them, she's more capable of evil than I am. She will not hold back in order to protect our children. So where do we associate strong and independent in the sense of, is it being fully encompassing in your role as a mother, or is it going out into the world and to risk not having a family or not having long-term relationship by pursuing career and education, as if going back to being a mother is just a button you push when you've had enough of being a strong independent woman?
Yeah. Well, my response to the strong independent woman is like, pretty much like what Daniela said, right? Like men, like I told you guys before, like it's our biology to provide and protect. Like that's how we show commitment. That's how we show love, right? So if I'm bringing that to the table, I don't need my woman. I'm not looking for a woman to be a provider, protector, because that's what I bring. I'm looking for a mother. I'm looking for a nurturer, a carer. Somebody's gonna raise my children, right? And like I told you guys before, I don't have a problem with women being strong, independent. What I am saying is the men that you guys want, the masculine, ambitious men, that's not what they're looking for. So you could be strong.
Part of the metric for attraction for us.
We're not sexually attracted to a woman's socioeconomic status. We're not attracted to your career. We're not attracted to your high level intelligence and trying to get a degree. I'm not saying we don't respect it. I'm not saying we value it as a human being. But we were talking about that relationships and the intersexual dynamic of sexual attraction. It does not make you sexually attractive to me. You can do that, that's fine, but just understand there are millions of women out there that want to be housewives, and they want to be a mother, they want to raise children, and they willingly prefer their man to be the leader, prefer the man to come in, provide, and protect. And those are the type of women. Those are the types of men who those masculine men. They go to those women because if you look at the statistics, the women who have high earners, the women who have high socioeconomic, upper middle class, those women statistically are unmarried or single. So if, like I told you guys before, which proves the point, like that's why I said, like for men, like I told you guys before, like, we don't care about those things or what you bring to the table. We're not sexually attracted to that. And like I told you guys, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not what masculine men. That's not a man that's providing, protecting, that's built his life, he's responsible, that's working on his purpose, working on his ambitions. He wants to create a family. That's not what he's looking for.
How many men, though, that are in that middle upper class are also single? Because there's a lot of men that don't date and they work their way up, and then once they're at an established place, that's when they get married and they whatever. So the fact that a woman might want to work her way up to a position before getting married and committing to a relationship and committing to a family isn't, I think men do the same thing. They don't always get married at 20 and then go to school and do all that stuff. And
I'll let you tell us people. The men, just to respond to Gentry, the men with similar socioeconomic status, middle class, upper middle class, they have a higher percentage. I think they have a higher percentage of getting married, and their single rate is less than the women. The women who are the same socioeconomic status, middle class, upper middle class, their single rate is higher, and the divorce rate is also higher as well. Because like I told you guys before, is like women care about what man's socioeconomic status. That's what women love. They want a man that's ambitious, confident, has a career, emotional, financial stability. But for men, because that's what we bring to the table, we're not looking for the same thing. we want a wife, we want a children, we want a woman that's gonna be nurturing, caring, and be able to commit herself and be feminine and submissive. Go ahead, Daniela.
Yeah, this is a big reason of how I piloted a lot of my strategy in mental health and construction, right? So I became a manager at the age of 21. I also committed to my partner at the age of 21. I've just recently turned 28, and now I'm a project manager earning six-figure for the last 3 years. Right. So when I teach, when I talk to my young men that on construction site, they should look beyond this option of women being independent and to find jobs in their relationship, right? Because our role as men is that we should be ambitious to the sense that we provide the financial complement to the relationship in the sense from one income. We should give our women the option to be able to either pursue career, education, or to be a stay-at-home mum. That's the option that we should provide as men. That's part of our role, right? However, with modern-day women, the pursuit of career and education is now giving the men that haven't established those values an option to not be as ambitious. I see this in my sister. She's the sole provider for her relationship. Her partner sits at home and texts her all day to, get food or whatever. And he's sitting in his room doing nothing all day. So by giving the men that hasn't built their value the option to do that, then where's a value proposition for them to build themselves? And I'm not saying this is women's fault altogether. We need more strong leaders and we need more strong men. However, it's now more harder for us to teach these young men because the option is provided. It's just like the casual sex culture. If women were to stay abstinent, who are these men having sex with? They have to build their value and to provide some sense of a value to women in order to have access to sex. But if the majority of women are readily available and providing easy access for sex, where's the value proposition for men to create their values and to bring strong mentality and ambition to the relationship?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody, if you guys want to add to what Daniela said? Gentry, I do want to ask you because, like I told you guys before, so you prefer your man to, if you decide to go into a long-term relationship with a man, right? Do you prefer him to be the provider, protector, and go out there? But you said that's what you prefer, right?
Yeah, like. Well, just the man. I like a more manly man. I can fix shit, but I much rather have a guy holding the drill and me like kissing on them and telling them how much I'll appreciate that they fix that for me.
Yeah, I want to ask you, Gentry. I know you're a single mom, and like you said, you're independent. You have to be, like you said, you mentioned you have to be masculine because you have to be, to take care of your family, right? But if you had a different choice, right, that with a good man that was willing to take the responsibility, and you can stay home and raise your sons, put all your attention into them, and you don't have to go out into the workforce. If there was an option like that, would you prefer that, or would you just prefer to raise the kids and work at the same time, or would you prefer that option with a guy you find a suitable, responsible guy? He's going to take care of all the financial responsibility, provide and protect you, and you can just raise the kids and dedicate yourself to your children and raising them. Like, what would you prefer?
The problem with the situation I'm in now is that the kids are solely mine. So if you're in a partnership, in a relationship, in a marriage, and you created the kids together, there's a little bit more trust. They have a little bit more skin in the game as they're being your kids that they're saying, stay home, take care of, provide. If I was in that situation now and they did that, I'm really the only one tied to these kids. So that's, for me, I feel like that's a lot to ask of someone if they chose to do that, or if they whatever. It also puts me more vulnerable that if they want to be done, I'm not going to get child support from this person. I might get alimony or whatever, but there's just not as much of it. They don't have the tie to the kids the way I do. So I think that would be a scarier situation and take a lot of trust. I think that I like to, so strong and independent doesn't mean top earner, right? So like I'm a CPA. I have my CPA license. I was a controller at a fruit packing warehouse. I was making really good money, but I was working from 8 to 5 and was still in charge of all of the football schedules, the basketball schedules, the whatever, all the homework, all this stuff. And so I quit my job. I'm making a third of what I was making. I work 2 days a week only when the kids are at school, and I'm doing online influence. I'm making less money, barely, like, I mean, I'm covering my bills. So it's not about being, but that I feel strong and independent that I can fucking do that, you know, like.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I totally understand. Like, because like I said, you raise the kids on your own, and much respect to you. All I'm saying is, like, if you had an opportunity to pick, just pick on, pick a man that was willing to take that responsibility, and you can just be at home and take the responsibility of raising the children, would you prefer that, or would you just keep, if you meet a guy, you still want to work as you do now and still go out to the workforce and have to work? Like, I'm interested to hear, because I've had conversations with women who are single moms, and they have to be masculine, they have to work because of life. That's just the way life works. But when you had this conversation with them, and then deep down, and after like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, they're like, they all say, you know what, if I had to do it all over again, I would actually prefer just to find one guy, and a guy that was responsible, and let him work and let me raise the kids, and not really have to go out there and raise the children on my own, raise the children and go out there and work. But that's my conversation with women. So I'm interested to hear your standpoint. Like, would you, if there was an opportunity to do it, because that's the reason why I bring it up, because that's the narrative that we see in modern society, right? They're telling women, hey, you know what, go be strong, be independent. You don't need a man if you happen to have kids, and you can raise it on your own. And if that's what women want to do, it's fine. But for me, I believe it's better if, like I said, it's because, like, raising children is hard enough, and you have to add on the workload. That's why it's much respect for all the single moms out there doing it. But I'm saying that's a lot to ask, when it's much easier when we have a partner. One can handle one part of the workload of the relationship, which is providing, protecting, and one can stay at home and raise a child. And that's why usually that dynamic works better and have a better quality of life, not only for the household, but also for the kids. But if you ask one person to do it all on their own, I think that's really hard to ask one person. Even if you're a single dad, even if you're a single mom, it's hard to ask one person to fulfill both roles that was meant for two people for one person. What do you think?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
But I mean, the same thing though. Like, I feel like it's because of the situation I'm in, it's a more vulnerable situation. I'm putting my kids in the hands of this person as well, not just myself. But I feel like even moms that were staying home still had some sort of ambition that they were doing. They were making small businesses. They were crocheting stuff. I mean, like, they were still doing stuff. They were still doing work. So I don't think, like, because our work might provide an income now, it doesn't mean that, like, stay-at-home moms weren't always working. They work obviously taking care of the kids, doing the household chores, but a lot of them had smaller little side things that they were doing all the time anyways, so I think I would still feel ambitious to be driving to I would have more freedom to kind of chase my dreams more of, like, getting into the coaching, really helping people, because I do all of that when my kids are at school.
That's the key there, is that you do it outside of the environment of where your children you have it 24/7 access to your children, right? Where the majority of women that I come across, especially when I talk to the young men that come through my construction side, is that there seems to be this notion, and Manteha, her sort of mindset towards this is that even if she gets with a man, it's more of a companionship or a partnership rather than a full-on commitment. There seems to be a correlation between relationship and partnership, in the sense of we provide value for each other, and if we aren't providing the value, then we go our different ways. No, we build value within relationship, and we through open communication and working through the different stages of our lives, especially with our biology moving and changing throughout the years. That's not a partnership, it's a commitment. And to realize that these changes are going on in the relationship and making a full-on commitment, that you are to work on it, to find the level of attraction that you had from the beginning, right? Love is not just a fleeting feeling, it's commitment and work. And the unfortunate thing is with women like Manteha, is that strong and independent is this thing that you bring to the relationship as it's a give or not a give or take, an ultimatum, right? If you want me to sacrifice my strong, independent nature and ambition, then it can't work. Why not? If the relationship creates beautiful, independent children who are healthy, not only mentally, but also physically and emotionally, why not? Why would you not sacrifice that? Men sacrifice the playboy or bachelor lifestyle, and what we ask of women is their rebellious nature. Because if they're ambitious, there's more likelihood of them divorcing us when they see something else that aligns with their ambition instead of learning to grow.
And also I would I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, you said something I wanted to add on. Yeah, I wanted to add on regarding the women who are that making sacrifices, right? So that's the thing, like the women that, like I think Gentry said, like, there's women out there that are they have children, they stay at home moms, but they still do something on the side, right? Is that what you just said, Gentry? Yeah. So for me, like as a man, I don't mind if my woman wants to do like a side hustle, but that should never be a priority over the kids. So the problem with women being having chasing their dream while having a family, because you already know this, when you pursue a career, when you're very ambitious, you have to make sacrifices, right? And the thing is, if you're a full-time mom at home and you want to pursue a career, and build something, because you guys all know this, if you want to build something and pursue a goal and dream, it's going to require a lot of your time and attention. So if you're going to do that as a mom, that's going to take away time from the children in investing that into your career. And for me as a man, it's like, I don't mind if a woman wants to do something on her own, build something, start a business, but I don't want her to prioritize that over my children. That's the number one should always be the kids and the family, and then number two should be your ambitions and goals. So pursue your goals and dreams, but the family comes first over that. And that's why for me, is like I'd rather just prefer being with a woman that she just wants willingly on her own. That's what she wants out of life. She wants to be a great wife. She wants to be a great mother. She she doesn't, she just that's what she finds enjoying in doing. And I'd rather be with her because I can work and do what I got to do. But I know now I have confidence in myself when I'm out there conquering the world and go out there making things happen for my family. I know for a fact that there's somebody home taking and raising my children. Right? I don't have to worry that, you know what, she might go pursue this business opportunity here and then leave my kids with somebody else. Right. So there's this feeling of security. I know that my kids are taken care of, and that will give me more confidence and motivation for myself as a man to keep doing what I'm doing and keep working and to make sure I provide and protect for my family. But if my woman is trying to have a goal and dream and she wants to sacrifice time away from my kids, that's going to be a problem for me as a man. Do you have anything you want to add to it? Okay, go ahead.
Just to add on, right, to the men, if you're watching, in the sense of, if you are ambitious to the extent that you provide the financial support at a level where you're not making ends meet, and you give your woman the option to either be a mother, to be educated, or to pursue a career, they usually fall into the motherhood. I've given my wife 2 years in the sense of options, and she wanted to pursue midwifery, wanted to go into that direction. Our youngest she's just turned 3 this year, and every year she comes to me and say, hey, next year I want to study. And then the year ticks over and she wants to remain as a mother because she sees the value in being fully committed. Now that the option is available to her, she values being a mother more than seeking education.
And also I would add this, I know guys right now that are single dads, right? And they're very ambitious, right? And they have issues with their kids because like they're constantly working, and because he's not at home to be able to give that emotional support, which traditionally would be the wife, would be the woman, that there's issues, right? So that's why I believe it works. That dynamic of the woman and the men works a lot better. But if you ask that role for both a man and a woman to fulfill on their own, then there's going to be issues with it. That's why it's much better. It's more, a man could go out there and conquer the world and do what he has to do to provide and protect, but then the woman is there to be with the kids, give them the attention they need, especially at their early ages from infancy, which they need the most. That's when the kids need the most as far as attention and emotional support. growing up. Somebody has to be there.
Yeah.
All right. Nia, do you have something to say?
Yeah, because like, for single mothers, like we don't have choice. Like we don't have a choice to.
Yeah.
Like for me, I would love to stay home and be with my kids and raise them and that while, like if I had the right man right in front of me, if I knew what I knew now than what I knew before, then I would have been more like, a bit more picky on who I slept with and who I went with and who I chose to have a baby to. I would ditch the whole, working and playing like the man role any day just to be at home with my children. But in saying that, like I've also, stayed at home full time while with a partner, and it's draining. Like I feel like every woman should have something for themselves. Like it's like I'm not like of course children are number one priority, but you have to prioritize yourself too. Like you can't your kids your man can be here and you down here. Like it has to be like you guys all have to be like on the same level. I think same page, just for like for the mental state of mind, because I see a lot of women, they're getting depressed, they can't mother properly because they forget about themselves. All their focus is on their children, and that's fine. Like I'm not saying like, hey, like forget about your kids for 6 hours a day so you can work on your business and who cares about them. I'm like, put them up there and put them up there with you. Like put yourself up there with them as well. Because you can't, if you're 80, say 60% throughout the day, you can't give your children 100% if you feel like 60%. So it's always good for, be a mother 100% and also, think about yourself.
This is an actual thing, right, that needs to be highlighted, is that we need to understand that women are naturally financial literate more than men are. So the way that my relationship dynamic work with my wife is that she has access to my bank account. Everything that I earn, she has access to. And I encourage her to go and treat herself, whether that's for a salon session, a nail session, whatever. Because mothers who are committed to the role often forget about themselves, and it drives depression and emotional irregulation. So as men, if you're in a relationship, you need to encourage your woman to have those moments in time and to give them the access to the financial of the family dynamic, because they now know what they can and can't spend. They know that the bills needs to be paid, but being with someone who's ambitious, as a man, you will drive to provide those resources. If you're just making ends meet, then obviously you can't do that. But I encourage men to be ambitious. In your younger days, you should break your back. So when you get to your 30s, you should aim at leadership roles and manager role. You shouldn't play a young man's game because your biology is not going to allow you to do that. And that shift in mindset allows you to be more ambitious than you would be being stuck in a warehouse for 30 years. But the financial part is a power to your woman, and giving up that power dynamic allows them to feel needed. They now have an important decision in the relationship, and it is an important decision. So if you're a man and you're in a relationship and you're controlling everything, give up a level of control so that your woman feels needed. By doing that, you don't know the impact of giving up power is such an important and crucial thing to do in relationship.
All right. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for the conversation and exchange. I do have one last thing I want to ask the ladies, one last topic before we conclude the podcast. And I know we already brought it up. I think I want to highlight that. I know we had great conversations, about independence, women going out there and be successful. And just to clarify for everybody, I don't mind. If you want to be successful, if you want to go out there and be ambitious and goals and dreams, all I'm saying is there are consequences when it comes to dating, the sexual dynamic when it comes to dating men. Because those are the very things that men look for may not be the same things that you could pursue for your life. But I want to ask you, ladies, what do you think is more important? Because this is something that I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, and it was actually a great conversation. But I want to ask you, in the generation of society where it's all about independency and modern women, go get that bag, go get that, be a boss, boss babe. and be your own boss. What do you think is more important as a woman, having a successful career or raising a successful family? What is more important? And I just want to ask your opinions about it because I just want to hear. Is it important to be a more successful career, or is it more important to have to raise and be a wife to raise a successful family?
Raise a successful family.
Okay.
And
Okay.
What's more important for a man, to have a successful career or to have a successful family?
Career, so that we can provide the environment for a successful family.
So the reason I asked that question is because, that's why we were debating in the beginning of the show, is like men and women, we prefer different things, right? So the thing is, for like I told you before, for women, career and earning potential, that doesn't make you sexually attracted to men. For men, having a high career and being career driven, that makes you sexually attracted to women. So men who are very driven and career oriented, they don't have problems getting married and they don't have problems finding women. But women who are career driven, statistically, women who are high earners, upper middle class, majority of a high percentage of them don't get married and they don't attract commitment from men. So as a woman, like that's one thing I have to break down to all the women out there. Like, if you want to be successful, that's fine. Be successful, chase your goals and dreams. But the likelihood of you getting married or finding a man is going to diminish as higher. The higher you go into socioeconomic status, the less you become your value when it comes to the sexual dating marketplace, right? So that's why I wanted to ask you, ladies, like, if you want to be career driven, that's fine, but is it worth it at the end? Because a lot of these women, when they reach the end of their career, there's studies on this, and you can look it up. A lot of them fall in depression levels. A lot when they don't have children, when they don't have a family. At the end, they've had the career, they've achieved their success, they've reached that corporate ladder, but at the end of they don't have a family, and now they're having issues mentally, emotionally with their mental health, right? And they're not happy. So that's why my question is like, to you, what's more important? You having that bag and having that successful career and the likelihood of never attracting marriage, or making a sacrifice, because relationship not sacrifice, giving up the career. You know what? I'm gonna give him a career. I found a responsible, capable man that's willing to be the provider, protector. I'm gonna align myself with him, rely on him, and he's gonna fulfill that role. I'm gonna have kids and gonna raise his beautiful family. So you get life is about choices, and that's why I wanted to ask you, because I had this conversation with a good friend of mine who's very career oriented. She has her own business. She's in her 30. I think she's in her almost 40. Even though she's successful, but she finds it really, really hard to find the man that she wants, and we have conversation about it, and it affects her. But that's what I wanted to ask you, just to hear your thoughts. So Gentry, like, what do you think is more valuable, more important, family or career as a woman?
As a woman today, if I didn't have my career, I'd be in a lot of fucking hurt. So I'm proud of myself for going to college. I'm proud of myself for getting my CPA license. I'm proud of myself for continuing to work hard so that I can provide for my kids. So I need my career to have a good family. So they're the same.
Okay. All right. And then Danielle, you want to add on to that?
Oh, well, go to Nia.
Yeah, so I think of course, like for me, it will always have to be number one priority, embracing my family and, all that. But if you were to have a male, I reckon if he was to choose, like when Tinju asked you, what do you think is more important? If you were to say chasing the bag and, looking for a career, I think that's how men do embrace their family, is by choosing that over than staying home and embracing their family. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, for men, like, we don't really have that option because we can't choose to stay home. Right?
You can choose, but you guys shouldn't choose to stay.
No, the thing, that's because we men, we know the consequences, because no woman wants a man that stays home and do nothing with their life. That's just the reality.
But you want me to stay home and do nothing with my life. Like you literally said earlier that you want a woman to just be home so that you feel good about yourself because you know somebody's there waiting for you. So like she just has to sit and be dependent on you. I think it's better if we're just both providing financially to the family, and you don't feel like you have to break your back. You don't have to work 80 hours. Like we both work a little bit and we both spend time with our kids versus like, I'm going to go out, I'm going to go to these business meetings, I'm going to do the golf trips, I'm going to do all this stuff, and I'm going to make all the money, I'm going to do all the business, and then you just get to spend it. But I don't want to be involved with the kids like that. Like there's guys that will say like, I'll accept making a little bit less so that I can coach t-ball. So I don't think it's fair to say that everybody has to have money. Like money is like you have to have money.
No, yeah.
So you can't you have to have money to raise your kids. So
yeah, but the thing is, like, you know, when it comes to men and women, if a man earns money, he can attract women and he can attract commitment from women and be married, right? When a woman makes high earning money, like I told you guys before, it's not the same effect when it comes to men, right? So those types of, so that's why we brought up the conversation for a guy to choose to stay home and be a housewife and don't work. If you want to do that as a man, that's fine. But in reality, no woman wants a man. And
whoever he married did want that. I mean, if that's what they agreed on, that's their decision.
I mean, how many successful relationships that you know of married over 20 years where the man stays home and is a housewife and the woman goes and then
I feel like that's a relatively new thing that people are doing. I don't have that information.
Well, I'm saying
is that women shouldn't just be sitting at home waiting, like just so you feel good about yourself. Like I'm just here.
Well, I'm saying you personally, like you personally, like, you know, I mean, I don't know any man out there right now that stays home full time and the woman works full time and their relationships reached past 20 years. So I don't know. Do you know any, Daniela?
No. This is a good point that Gentry is bringing up, right?
Yeah.
Although that's not the notion of what we have. Well, my personal notion of what relationship should be, the content that we're providing can easily be taken in that route. That men should feel good about having their women just sit at home. That's not it. Women who are mothers are working 24/7. They don't just sit there, right? And Madiha brought up a good point before, is that some of the people that get into relationship, they have this thing where they don't value each other's complementary nature to the relationship. Some men will think their partner sits at home, do nothing all day, and then their partner would say, you don't know what it's like to spend the whole day with kids, requires work, right? Appreciating the different values that women and men bring into the relationship, and to uphold that, and knowing that there's a give and a take by pursuing your role as a man or your role as a woman. That's what makes relationship worthwhile. It's not just, I don't feel good because my partner sits at home. I feel good that I see my children getting clothed. They look decent, they're clean, they're getting fed, they're healthy. We have regular interaction where they're learning to regulate their emotions. That's what I feel good about. I wouldn't feel good if my partner my wife sat at home doing nothing.
And also just to add on what you just said, you know, I've heard from women as well, like if the guy's always working, right, they'll complain, oh, I'm here at home taking care of the kids, but it must be nice to go out there in the world and go to work and just go out there and have all the time to yourself, and you don't have to be here at home. It must be nice, but they're devaluing the fact of all the things the stress that men go through to put themselves into, especially if they're trying to elevate themselves in a higher social and economic status in competition to compete at a very competitive marketplace, to go out there and find these opportunities, which is very limited, and you have to go out there and pursue and compete with other men. There's rejection, there's failure, there's all these things that the men have to shoulder. So the fact that you think that we're just out there in the world, just having fun at work while you're at home. And like I said, I'm not devaluing the value of what woman brings to the table, because like I told you before, raising your children is a full-time job and responsibility, right? It's just, we just have different responsibilities, but we've gotten to a point where like these roles are very fluid now. and to be in this role, to even talk about roles is suppressing the men, the women are suppressing the men, which I believe like these roles, that this is how we were biologically built. And I think that's the biggest reason why marriages and commitments is failing nowadays is we're asking the men to go away from their natural role, and we're asking the women to go away from the natural role, even though we're both capable. But we see the results based on the statistics and just what we see in reality. Anija, you have something to say?
No, I'm just agreeing with what you're saying.
Okay. All right. And then any last thoughts want to leave, Gentry?
I don't want to take strong and independent as we want to be the man. I think that it's okay to be educated. It's okay to be providing for your family in whatever. And I think it's okay still to have that feminine where women are going to be more the nurturers and whatever. And I think it's okay for men to take over some of that too. I think men can come in and they can be involved in the raising of their children and not just worried about bringing home the bacon. It's not just about income, money. Like we need to look at all of it. But I do think you're right. We need to keep our roles. I think when we start saying like we both do the dishes, then we fight about it, you know. So it's like we got to find our roles in our stuff. But I think that we can.
Dishwasher is a good invention.
So
dishwashers.
Yeah. So it's like no, for me it's just like it's very practical, right? Because you know, can we all agree is like relationships is a teamwork.
Yeah, and the thing.
Yeah. And I'll pass it to Daniela.
It's
a teamwork. It's a teamwork, right? If you've ever been part of a team sport or team organization, right? The roles are very defined, right? The role. This is what you do. This is what I do, right? And then when the team works very efficiently is when every role member of the team does their role, and then we all pursuing the same outcome and goal, and it works, right? If the roles are not fluid, then we overstep into each other's boundaries, and then so it's chaos. So that's why roles are into place, right? And then the same thing with relationships. Like there has to be a defined role. This is what a man does. This is his responsibility. This is what a woman does. But if those roles are fluid now, and there's no defined roles, just like a team sport. Like you know, I played football. I don't know if you guys are out there play football. I played defense. I can't go to my quarterback and say, "Hey, this is what you need to do." No, I need to focus on my role, right? I don't try to do the other person's job. I don't try to do my teammate's job. I have to trust him that he's going to fulfill his role, and I have to trust myself. I'm going to fulfill my role for the benefit of the team and the outcome. And the same thing with relationships. As men, we have to trust and know what our role is, and as women, we do. But we are going into society now where it's become fluid. That we're breaking down these roles, and like I said, if that's what you believe in. That's fine. But the thing is, for me, is just the results. If you look at the results, it's just the marriages are not working in America, and the relationships are not working, and there's a lot of high levels of depression, high levels of people complaining, people people looking for dating coaches, male coaches, like Gentry, providing a lot of customers.
Sober coaches, there's a lot of sober people struggling with alcohol.
Yeah, so exactly. So for me, it's like if for me, it's what works. Like if we want to go to a fluid role relationship dynamic, great. But but the thing is like, what are the results showing? So if it's not working, for me, it's real simple. If it's not working, then we need to find a solution, change it. And that's why it's great to have this conversation. And Daniela, what was you want to add on to that? Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. It's we have to understand biology and this thing about nurture nature, right? We can make it work within us, but the ultimate, what is the ultimate goal? For me, the ultimate goal is to raise good, decent, and future generation, right?
Yeah.
So we can say it's okay if you go out of your gender role, and it's okay for you to go outside of whatever is the role that you should assume. To me, it's necessary so that you can give your children a baseline to go off from there. Culture is not always the determining factor of how a generation grows up. Biology always plays a big part in it. So how do we better equip our children to succeed in their own lives? just because we assume this role and we're fluid in the sense that, oh, you can do this, you can do that. That's not the same perception, and that's not the same level of drive that our children will have. Some of it will come from nurture, but some of it will come from nature. So how do we balance that out? By assuming the role that our gender is most optimized for, so that we at least give our children some baseline of values and morals for them to carry out their life, essentially, when we leave this rock or whatever we believe in. It seems that, to me, it's not okay. It's necessary for men to be men and for women to be women. There is beauty in each other's complementary nature to each other. It's beautiful. When you sit down and look at it, it's beautiful. But it's also, it seems like we are denying each other of the nature that we were biologically made for and optimized for.
All right, no worries. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the conclusion of the podcast. We had this was a great, interesting back and forth podcast. A little bit more than my usual, but I love the open discourse. I just want to say thank you so much, Gentry, for sharing your opinions. Nia and Matiha, if you're watching this right now, much love you. Thank you for coming on. And even though we have different opinions, but that's a part of it, is that we have these type of conversations in a dating world where a lot of people are trying to figure it out. So hopefully, if you're watching this right now, hopefully we can add value to you and ask some of your questions. And if we didn't answer some of your questions, then like I said, you feel free to reach out to me or any one of these guests, and you can contact them, and you guys can get further information as well. So, ladies, I just want to ask you guys real quick one last thing. Just ask you guys what was your take from tonight's podcast, and how can people find you? If people want to find you, I know a lot of you guys have your own platform, so they can find and support you. And also, a lot of you guys are single, so if somebody became obsessed with you and they just found an attraction from you, how would they reach out to you as well? So I'll start with you, Gentry. What's your take, and how can people find you if they want to find and support you in your platform?
No, I think this was a really good conversation. I feel like there has to be a better way. I mean, from the extreme to the other extreme, we got to find a place that's more where we're accepting our gender roles, but we're also giving ourselves a little bit more freedom to express ourselves. But my Instagram is Life with Gentry. My TikTok is Life with Gentry. You can follow me on both those platforms. And I do crazy sober single mom shenanigans.
All right. You text back, Gentry?
Huh?
You reply back on DMs?
Yeah, I mean, if they're, yes, I try to.
All right. Fellas, you guys already know. Shoot your shot. All right. Thank you so much, Gentry. I really appreciate you for jumping on. I appreciate your feedback. Nia, same thing. What was your take for tonight's podcast? And I know it was a little hectic. I know I saw it by your face. It was a lot. But how can people find you as well?
Don't look for me. There's no reason to look for me. I'm not a social media person. I just found out how to work Instagram properly last night. And I think what Nella was saying, because when he talked about when he described strong, independent woman, I think a lot of people, after the way he described it, I was like, yeah, that's what strong and independent woman means. Like a lot of people, what's their name? But yeah, I think that's it. And yeah.
All right. No worries.
I'm tired.
Don't find her, fellas. Don't find her. All right. And Daniela, thank you so much for jumping on as always. I always appreciate you jumping on as a guest. Ladies, thank you so much. We do this every single weekend, every single Saturday. Love the content. Please like, subscribe. And if you love these ladies, what they do, please follow their platform, support them as well. Have a good night, ladies. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.